Hi, my name is Emily Robertson.
And my name is Saral Sadeh.
We are current Cal Poly students, and this is our senior project on defense against sexual offenders. Here's the agenda of what we will cover throughout our presentation. Every day, patrons are susceptible to being attacked by a sexual offender. Although there are currently laws prohibiting sexual offenders from entering a park or other public areas, it's difficult to keep them out without constant law enforcement surveillance. This situation leaves people at risk to being attacked, since they're most likely unaware that there is a sexual offender in their midst.
Our project motivation was one of my best friends, Chelsea King, was kidnapped and murdered by a previous convicted sex offender. So our system design will prevent future attacks as well as save lives and heartbreak. The goal of our project is using Bluetooth low energy devices with smartphone application as an alert system. It will track repeat violent sex offenders and will discourage offenders from entering parks as well as schools. Currently, there are 120,000 tracked parolees, 50,000 convicted sex offenders in the United States that are not being tracked. Chelsea's law was created to create stricter penalties for 19 convicted sex offenders in San Diego County. Current laws are that sex offenders cannot be within 50 feet from the school or park. Chelsea's law was a one-strike law where if someone violently rapes a child under 14 years old, they are sentenced to life without parole. This was passed in California and a few months ago in Texas.
To come up with our solution, we had multiple ideas of how to go about it. One of our first ideas was using Global Positioning System, or GPS. We would use triangulation to identify the tags, but we decided to go against this system because you can't ensure that the offender is consistently wearing the tag because the battery life is only around a month. So the offender would need to remove the tag to recharge it, and during that time they would be untracked and could commit a crime. As well as the systems are very costly, ranging from around $8 million per offender per year. One of our other options was using radio frequency identification, where we would have a tamper-proof band similar to those used in house arrests, where if the offender tampered with the band, it would automatically notify the police. And with this system, we would need to have had active RFID readers placed around the perimeter of parks or schools. This would be a very costly and time-consuming task, and it would be very hard to get these readers on every park in every city in every town, as well as there's privacy issues with radio frequency technology, and the read range is only about 25 to 50 yards.
So our proposed solution is to use Bluetooth low energy. And this will alert when a transmitter goes into or out of a range. It is license free as well as low cost. The Bluetooth low energy chip is approximately the size of a quarter and has a long battery life. It also has highly encrypted security and a very large read range. To implement in our system, we require the use of gimbal beacons, which are proximity beacons to provide micro-location awareness, which enables applications to determine the relative proximity. Gimbal beacons are easy to install, cost-effective, and battery efficient. They cover large locations, both radial and polygonal geofences. It is very low cost at approximately $5 to $6 and has a long battery life of approximately 5 months.
To implement our system, the offenders would be wearing the gimbal beacon and it would be set in a tamper-proof band, but we would also implement a larger battery within the band to extend the battery life of the beacon to last around 2 years or more. And this beacon would be transmitting Bluetooth low energy secure identifier every 643 milliseconds. That would maximize the exposure of the beacon and ensure that it was easily seen by smartphones in the area. We would also create geofences where they're invisible fences that you can draw on, for example, Google Maps, where if the beacon crosses that invisible fence, it would immediately trigger an application that would notify the civilian or the police that the offender has entered a restricted zone.
So to fully implement our system, we created an Android application with the use of Java and Eclipse. And as you see on the left, that's the icon of our iBeacon reference. And when you click on that, and if there's an iBeacon in the geofence that the app has created, it will see and you will get a notification, and it will also, when you click on the start ranging mode, you will be able to see how far away it is. The flow of our notification is that the application would create a geofence, and when iBeacon enters that, you will get a notification that there is a nearby sex offender of approximately 100 yards away of your current location. To address privacy concerns, the application and our system is non-invasive of privacy. The system is set up to use a rolling code, and Gimbal provides different levels of information to different people. For example, the police on their application would see the full description and previous convictions of the sex offender, as well as a picture, where civilians could only see offender A, but they do not receive the exact location of the offender.
An economic breakdown of our system is as follows. The manufacturing costs to actually make the chip as well as the tamper-proof band cost around $25. And with we conducted some market research and discovered that we could sell this system for around $150 to $200 to law enforcement or local police as well. And that would give us a profit of around $125 to $175. But the system would also save, if purchased, would also save police and the state a lot of money, because the cost of a life is around $7 million, as well as the cost of mental well-being ranges around $3,000 per year per person. And this is also an alternative to extending a jail sentence of the convicted sex offender, because then they would be wearing the bands and be tracked and be on parole, because the average cost of an inmate sentence per year is around $50,000. Therefore, the cost of our system is dramatically lower and saves the government as well as law enforcement a lot of money.
So overall, our application performs at a simplified version of our solution. It was to show a proof of concept that our system, when it gets implemented, will deter the offenders from entering a park or school that would violate their parole. The police will get an instant notification when an offender crosses a geofence, whereas civilians on their application will be informed if an offender is in their vicinity.
In the future, we plan on furthering our work with this project, and we realize that not everyone can own a smartphone because they're expensive and costly. So what we would want to do is place fixed receive monitors in public areas such as parks or schools where sex offenders aren't legally allowed to go. So then it would be triggered if a beacon crosses that geofence and alert patrons that there is an offender in the area and that they should be on alert. We would also want to expand our current app, that is the civilian app, to include a bit more logic as well as make it more aesthetically pleasing. The next step would be to develop a police application, so then they would allow the police to access a very detailed database that would contain information about sex offenders, such as their current address or a picture of themselves, so then it would help them arrest them if they were to break their parole. Overall, it's a fact that people will be susceptible to sex offender attacks no matter where they are, but we hope that with our system where we ban the convicted offenders using our Bluetooth low energy technology, as well as having applications that will notify civilians or police if there's an offender in their vicinity or if they cross a geofence, that it will deter attacks. The cost of making our system is so much less than the cost of a life or of mental well-being, where it's completely worth implementing it. And we are very confident that with this system, it will deter future attacks, because offenders will not want to commit a crime if they know that their location could easily be tracked, or if they cross a restricted area, it would immediately notify the police. And this would also make people feel much safer knowing that sex offenders can't just enter parks without being noticed.
So we would like to thank all the following people for their support.
Without them, we would not have been able to complete this project so successfully.
And here are just a few of our sources.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.